Sorry for the interruption. We restart our discussion. So I was there in stylistics. I told you stylistics analyzes the linguistic deviation and indirectly it identifies the foregrounding of meaning. Similarly, many other branches are also can be linked with linguistics. For example, computational linguistics. Computational linguistics analyzes the use of language in different techniques or technical tools like computers. At the same breath, we can also name many other branches that are born from linguistics. For example, ethno-linguistics, mathematical linguistics, biological linguistics, and so on and so forth. Anyway, these are some of the scopes that linguistics provides us. Besides, we cannot forget that the primary scope of linguistics is its ability for the descriptive analysis of a language. When I say descriptive analysis, that means its ability to study the physical properties, their characteristics and functions. Thus, for example, linguistics can study the 4 levels of a language, like phonology, morphology, syntax and semantics. Phonology helps us in studying the sound properties, how sounds of a language are produced and what is their characteristics, and how these small units of sounds are joined together to make a meaningful expression, the function of the sounds, etc. Morphology analyzes the structure of words, how words are formed. The smallest unit of a word is called morpheme. How different morphemes are added together to make a word. For example, if we say unimportant, there are 2 morphemes that are coming together to make this word. One is un, another is important. So these 2 are the morphemes. Un is called prefix since it is preceding the base word. Sometimes we can add a morpheme at the end of a word and make a new word. For example, beautiful. The base word is beauty, but full is added at the end of the word. If a morpheme is added at the end of the word, it is called suffix or suffixation. So anyway, morphology is that level where we have the description of how the words are formed. Then we have syntax. Syntax analyzes beautifully how these words are systematically joined together to make phrases, clauses and sentences. Every language has their own system, own rule and guideline to form sentences, to form clauses. So syntax studies that. Semantics is the other level of linguistics that analyzes the meaning of expressions or the layers of meaning. Sometimes a particular expression may appear to have a particular meaning, but if introspected, if interpreted deeply, we find another meaning in the same sentence. So these layers of meaning, or a particular word sometimes have a different meaning at a particular context, but it will have a different meaning at another context. For example, if we say bank, bank in the context of financial activity, it has a different meaning. But in the context of nature, it has a different meaning, the bank of a river. So these meaning variations, meaning dimensions are analyzed in this level called semantics. So this is another bigger scope of linguistics. Now, in the conclusion we can say, but before I conclude, I have another point to touch with you. But this topic, if we conclude here, we can say that the scope of linguistics is very large, very wide. None can deny that. Though it started just 100 years back, the journey of the subject or this particular branch, linguistics, started 100 years back, but already it achieved a lot. Many dimensions, many theories, many interpretations have come from linguistics already. There is hardly any branch left who does not take help of linguistics. So this is all about what is linguistics, its definition, its terminology, and its scope. Now the last point in your syllabus is, what is the difference of linguistics with traditional grammar? Well, traditional grammar is a very common notion that we are very acquainted from our childhood days, and sometimes it is very scary as well. The notion of traditional grammar is very old. Many say it started in the early 15th century. The earlier grammarians, based on Latin, they formulated the book of guideline for learning language or using language. This is called the traditional grammar. So here comes first difference, that traditional grammar is quite old, started in the 15th century, but linguistics or the modern linguistics is very young, started very recently in the 20th century. Second difference is that traditional grammar came mainly based on one language, Latin, but linguistics is different. Linguistics frames the common rules which is applied in any language. So it does not spring up from one particular language. Third difference is that Traditional grammar is quite prescriptive. It prescribes the rules for you and you have to learn and parrot and then use. But linguistics is not prescriptive but descriptive. Linguistics first studies the use of language by common man, how the natives speak language, observes their use of language, then inducts the rules. So there is a basic difference. Traditional grammar is prescriptive, whereas linguistics is descriptive. It describes the physical properties, characteristics, their functions of language. Traditional grammar limits itself totally in written form, whatever is written. But the primary focus of linguistics is speech, spoken form of language or the use of language. So there is another difference. Traditional grammar has one very strong weakness. It ignores the uniqueness of language. Every language has their own uniqueness. They are very different from other. For example, Bodo is a semitonal language. The difference of pitch can bring a difference of meaning of a word in Bodo, which is very unique and very wonderful, beautiful characteristics of this language. So there are so many languages in the world who are having unique characteristics, very distinct characteristics. But the traditional grammarians never recognize the uniqueness of a particular language. Rather, they gave a common rule, guideline for all the languages to follow, indirectly killing the uniqueness of these individual beautiful languages of the world. But on the other hand, linguistics recognizes the uniqueness of every language. They try to find out what is different in this particular language, maybe Bodo, maybe Nepali, maybe any language, African language, and they foreground that and they keeps this as a highlight. Traditional grammar is often confusing since their approach is not scientific but only prescriptive. Often they are not logical. Sometime earlier, some kids used to ask me, "Sir, the past tense of walk is walked, play is played. Then why go is not good?" Very confusing, isn't it? So, if you follow traditional grammar, often you will find this kind of confusions. It means traditional grammar is not adequate. But linguistics is not confusing. It's very scientific, objective and systematic. Systematically it brings out the characteristics and features so that it becomes very easy to learn a different language through linguistics. So overall, traditional grammar or grammarians are a kind of classicist, very rule-based, very rigid. But linguistics is not like that. Very flexible, individualistic, and it has far wider scope. Traditional grammar is limited only in rule and guidelines, whereas linguistics, besides grammar of language, is also studies phonology or the sound of a language, syntactic property, syntax, how sentence and words are formed, morphological properties, meaning, semantics. These are the additions in linguistics which are not there in grammar. Besides, linguistics is also very powerful as a subject than traditional grammar, and therefore so many other branches already we discussed. Other branches like social linguistics, stylistic have come from linguistics. Traditional grammar does not have any ability to give birth to theories which linguistics has. So this is it. There is a big difference between traditional grammar and linguistics. So this is all about your first class regarding the first topic of a syllabus. Go through it, try to listen, don't hear but listen, and I will come live with you guys very soon, maybe tomorrow or day after tomorrow. If there is any confusion, any addition required, please interact with me and I will try my best to clarify. Thank you. Namaste again.